Okay, in this one we are working on our endorsements. We are still in Chapter 5, Section 1, going through our notes. And we're ready for a restrictive endorsement. The restrictive endorsement is the best kind of endorsement that you can use, and this is what most businesses always use. It's going to limit the use of the check to the purpose that is stated in the endorsement. So, what the endorsement looks like. It's going to say, for the deposit only, to the account of, and then your name or your business name. So the only thing, if I would write this for deposit only to the account of Michelle Thurlow, if I was to lose this check, the only thing that can be done with this check is that it can be deposited into my account. When you write a check to a business, a lot of times they will put it into their cash register. The cash register then prints onto the back of the check. And basically what it is printing is this information so that that check can only be put into their checking account. A lot of times it may also have the account number on it. So the restrictive endorsement, if I am filling out my deposit slip and signing the backs of my check while I'm at home before I ever get to the bank, this is the kind of endorsement I'm going to do in case I would lose my envelope with my deposit in it before I get there. Then nobody else can do anything but deposit that check into my account. Okay, make sure we got to the bottom of the page. Nope. Yep, restrictive endorsement. Sorry about that. Okay, now we're ready to do a completed check stub and a check. So what is the definition of a check stub? I showed you what the check stub looked like and we filled it out for our deposit. But the definition of a check stub is the business's record of each check written for a cash payment transaction. Okay, and I've already talked about how a check and cash, the words are used the same. Oops. And so for this one, a cash payment transaction, really we're talking about writing a check. So the concept, because in accounting we have several concepts, this is the concept of objective evidence. So with objective evidence, what that means is because we're keeping track of a check stub and we are later going to have proof of what happened. So that's objective evidence. So which is prepared first, the check stub or the check? You should always prepare your check stub first. Oops, can't really see that one. Okay, so I have to do a circle that a check stub is what is prepared first. So we're going to go ahead and go down here. And it says we need to prepare a check stub to Port City Supply Company in the amount of $275 for supplies. The date is August the 3rd. Okay, so this has already been filled in for you. We're going to start by putting the date, August the 3rd, who the check is written to. It is to Port City Supply Company. The purpose of the check is for supplies, and the amount of the check is $275. So this is the very first thing we're going to do. At this point, we can then come over here onto our check and actually write out the check. So we need to figure out what our new balance is. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to take this subtotal, which was $5,000, and we need to subtract the amount of this check, This check was for $275. And that's going to equal our new balance of $4,725. Okay, so we need to write that onto our check stub so that we always know what our balance in the checking account is. You should do this every time you write a check, not just every so often when you get time to do that. So we had this subtotal. We did not have any other transactions take place that we wrote on our check stub, so our subtotal was still $5,000. The amount, oops, I put that in the wrong spot. $5,000 was our subtotal. The amount of this check was for $275. And so our balance carried forward after we do our subtraction is going to be $4,725. Okay, so that's all we have to do to fill out our check stub. Now we're ready to write the check, and this little line here would have really been joined up with the check stub. So to write the check, the date is August the 3rd, and the year is 2014. Paid to the order of. We are writing this check to Port City Supply Company. And they have abbreviated that. And the amount of the check is $275. And a lot of times people will write this number with 275 and the 00 above 100, or they draw a slash under the zeros. Actually, the proper way to write the number on the check in this spot is 275.00. A lot of times that's easier now because your check is not actually being read by a person, it's being read by a machine, and so that makes it easier for the machine to read it. On this line, we're going to write the amount again, and you're going to start as far to the left margin as you can, and you're going to write out the words, or write out the amount of the check in words. So 275, many people will put dollars here. You do not put the word dollars here because the word dollars is already printed. So 275, and at this time we're going to either put 00 over 100, or we can write no over 100. And then it's important to always go ahead and draw a line all the way out to the word dollars. The reason why you want to do this is so that nobody can go in here and change the written amount and add words to it, because you've drawn a line to show that that line is full. So this was for $275 and no 100. The purpose of this check was for supplies. And a good general business practice is not just to put supplies, but maybe to put the invoice number or what supplies you were buying here. And then, of course, you need to sign it. And everyone in this class is authorized to sign for Techno Consulting. So go ahead and sign your name. Okay, now you have your check filled out, and it's ready to go in the mail or to take to the store. Okay, sometimes when you're writing a check, you might make a mistake. And so if that happens, you need to void a check. A voided check can occur when a mistake occurs in the writing of the check, or I guess it's error. When an error occurs in the writing of the check. If the error occurs, the check is no longer acceptable to the bank. A lot of times people will make a mistake and they will just cross it out and then they put their little initials beside of it. that does not technically make it acceptable to the bank. Banks do not have to accept a check that has been altered. Okay, I don't know if you guys can see him, but my doggy decided to join us. Say hi, Roger. Okay, because checks are numbered, a record of all checks must be kept. So if we mess up and we are going to rip that check up and throw it away, we still need to record that we had a voided check. We are going to actually write the word void across the front of the check so that it cannot be used again. Guess my puppies are really excited about accounting tonight. So here we're going to complete the steps to record a voided check in the journal. Okay, so we're on our journal. We're going to start with the date that we made a mistake. And the date was the 15th of the month. And we're going to pretend we've already been using our journal, so we're just going to put in the 15th. The account title. Well, we really don't have an account to do anything with because we made a mistake. This check isn't worth anything. So for account title, we're just going to write the word void. Okay. Oops, sorry about that. The document number, this is going to be what check number it was. This was check 20, so we're going to put a C20. And because we're not going to post this anymore, we're going to put a check mark in your post reference column. Now, I can't make a check mark in this program, so I'm just going to put a V and pretend like that is a check mark. Then over here, we're not putting anything in the general debit or credit or sales credit, but we are going to come over here to the cash credit. And we're just going to draw a line through this because that way we don't get confused. We know we wrote a check. So when you write a check, you always have cash credit. This is going to show that we really didn't have any amount for a credit. So that's all you have to do to record a voided check. When you're going through posting this into your journal, you're just going to skip over this line because it already has the check number in the post reference. So for your homework, we're going to go ahead and do 5-1, work together. In the next video, we're going to do that one together. In your book, it's on page 123, and in your workbook, it's on page 93. So I'll join you in a moment.